I was at my local thrift store and I found this Blue Beetle popcorn bucket. And at first I was like, oh, this outside is pretty cool. I could definitely do something with it. And then I opened it up and I found these awesome legs inside. There's 6 of them. And I immediately started to think about all the cool projects that I could build with these. At the same time, I also found this homemade kit where you're supposed to make these little mushroom terrarium things. And it comes with everything you're supposed to use to make this yourself. I only really use the container, the glass dome, and the wood base with the lights inside of it. By the time I got this kit though, the clay was rock hard and unusable. So I ended up getting this Sculpting 3 translucent clay, which actually worked out really well. The first thing I'm going to build is the little grabber arm that's going to go in the front of the mech. And I'm building this out of some wire, beads, and some heat shrink tubing. And the reason why I'm putting this on my mech is that mushrooms don't get their energy from the sun. They don't photosynthesize. They get their energy from digesting organic materials. And so I needed a little arm to be able to pick up organic material as this mushroom was walking around so it could have sustenance. I'm using this plastic lid to hold the base with the electronics in it because I can't attach that directly to the legs because I need access to the switch underneath and the batteries. To make the base fit more snug, I'm adding these small pieces of EVA foam to reduce the gap in between the pieces. This thicker piece of EVA foam is going on the bottom of the lid. It will add some stability and give more space for the glue to attach. To make the caps of the mushroom, I take a little bit of that transparent clay, roll it into a ball, and using my thumb and the palm of my hand, I push it into a slight bowl shape. Then I can bake it in the oven and it will harden and turn a little more opaque. This stuff isn't totally clear, but it does allow light to pass through it, which is what I want. For the stems of the mushroom, I'm using this 3/16 polystyrene tube, and I cut it up into a couple different pieces of different lengths, and then using a heat gun, I can shape him into more of an organic shape. And the great thing about them being a tube is that I can fit the wires from my lights through them, and that way all my wires will stay hidden. This lovely concoction is a mix of dirt, water, and Mod Podge, and I'm using it to build up a more natural terrain around the base of the mushrooms. And once everything dries, I can give it all a coat of black paint. Once I get the legs into the shape that I want, I use this really thin super glue and lock all the joints in place. I didn't quite like how the ends of the legs looked, so I cut them off, and I'm adding these game board pieces that I found to give it a more arachnid look. Everything gets brushed down with a wire brush to make sure that the paint sticks. I'm using a combination of both super glue and hot glue to attach the legs, just to give it some extra strength. On this first one I used a little bit too much hot glue, as you can see here. On the rest I learned my lesson though. I ended up shortening the little grabber arm because it looked a little unproportional against the entire mech. This is the silver that I use for all my silver dry brushing, and here's the brush that I use. It's an old makeup brush. Everything got a flat black coat of primer, and then everything besides the mushrooms get a coat of this silver dry brushing. And I paint the dirt a dirt color. For color, I'm using this light avocado acrylic paint. And I'm just sort of dabbing it on with my brush. I'm not being super careful because with the weathering and everything later, I want this to look like it's been tromping through the forest for many, many years and the paint is starting to chip off and fall away. For weathering, I'm using this black wash, which is a mix of black acrylic paint and water, and I just sort of smear it over everything, then come in with a paper towel and dab most of it away. This leaves a lot of color in the deep crevices and adds a lot of grime and dirt. This is a weathered arm, and this is a clean one. I use this model making grass to add a bit more life to my mushrooms. It looks more like moss to me, which is actually exactly what I want. So I'm using some Mod Podge mixed with a little bit of water, and I brush over the entire dirt area and sprinkle my fake moss on top. I then spray it with a bit of isopropyl alcohol and drip on some more of that watered down Mod Podge. The alcohol helps the Mod Podge sink into the fake grass and holds everything in place. With a light dry brushing of brown acrylic paint, I can add a bit of color variation to the moss and make it look a little more real. And with one final cleaning of the glass dome, I can start to put everything together and we can see our final product. I present to you the mechanical, walking, sentient mushroom. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a really fun time making this one. It's a little different than some of the ones I've built in the past, a little larger scale and a little simpler, but I think it turned out really well. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, put them in the comment section and I'll try to get back to you. I will have a list of all the materials and tools that I use down in the description. They are Amazon affiliate links, which just means that if you order it through that link, I get a small commission and you pay nothing extra, so it's a win-win. I hope you had a good time, and as always, I will see you in the next video.